Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Mritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva Manusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudevasutam devam kansachanuramardanam devakim paramanandam krishnam vande jagadgurum. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. So today is our 26th shloka of the Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 4th Adhyay. In our previous reading, Sri Krishna has taught us about the two types of sacrifices, yajna, that some people they do. Like he had told about Daiva Meva Pare Yajnam Yoginaha Paryupasate. Some yogis, they offer sacrifices, they do the sacrificial acts, yajna, to appease some deities, some gods, goddesses. They perform those acts of sacrifices. I will give this, I'm doing this, you give me something. It is kind of a prayer to the gods and goddesses to gain something, whether it is material wealth or material things or even spiritual things. Now, whatever they do, this is like or giving an offering to the external gods, goddesses, the deities. Even that also take them along on the spiritual path. And Sri Krishna says, there are others, Brahmagnav pare yajnam yajne naivopa juhvati. But there are some others who offer their self to the fire of Brahman. To the fire of Brahman, and it is a complete annihilation of the I consciousness. They just offer, there is no trace of I thereafter as far as those people are concerned. There is no me and mine. There is no I and you, because they sacrifice their I consciousness. Brahmagnava pare yajnam yajne naivopajuyati. The offering is of the self. The offering is of the I. And where is it offered? In the fire of Brahman. Brahmagnav. In the fire of knowledge. They offer everything. Or everything in a sense, their I consciousness. So that is what Krishna told us in the 25th shloka, that these are the types of sacrifices that people do. And in this 26th shloka, he is going to tell us further about the second kind of sacrifice that he had told in the 25th shloka of sacrificing the self. Now, some people, they completely give up I consciousness. It is not kind of sacrificing some wealth or sacrificing a goat or sacrificing a chicken. Not like that. Or offering ghee or offering parched rice or offering the samidas. Not that sacrifice also. But the sacrifice of the self. And Now in this 26th shloka, Sri Krishna has told śhrotrādīnīndriyāṇyanye sanyamāgniṣhu juhvati. śhrotrādīnīndriyāṇyanye sanyamāgniṣhu juhvati. śhabdādīn viṣhayānanya indriyāgniṣhu juhvati. Comes lower in the rank from sacrificing the self itself. Lower from sacrificing the I consciousness itself. Some people, they get in the act of sacrificing things pertaining to senses. Now we all know Sri Krishna has told us that senses, the sense objects and the sense organs, all this kind of jugglery that the Maya is playing with us. That we are getting deluded because of the sense organs taking us to the sense objects and to satisfy the desires of those senses. You know, because of that, there is the whole downfall. There is whole downfall from our spiritual path. And earlier also in the Karma Yoga, the 7th shloka, Sri Krishna has told us about this sense objects and the organs of senses and the senses. He has told us, Yastvindriyāni manasa niyamyarabhate arjuna karmendriyaihi karma yogam asaktaha sa vishishyate. And then Sri Krishna had told us, but, O Arjuna, he who controlling the senses by the mind, unattached, directs his organs of action to the path of work, excels. So there also he had spoken about the person who excels in his karma yoga by restraining the sense organs from the objects of senses, from the sense objects. He is the one. And now here again in 26th shloka, Sri Krishna is telling us, śhrotrādīnīndriyāṇyanye, śhrotrādīnīndriyāṇyanye. The sense organs like hearing, etc. Anye is etc. and others. The sense organs like hearing and others. Sanyamāgniṣhu juhvati. Juhvati is sacrificed, is offered. So there are other types of people who sacrifice their organs of senses. Where? In the sacrificial fire. But which is that sacrificial fire? Sanyamāgni. The sacrificial fire of restraint. The sacrificial fire of control. So Krishna says some people, they offer their sense organs in the fire of restraint. So thereby they don't allow their sense organs to go and hit the objects of the senses, sense objects, and that cannot complete the reaction of the organs meeting the objects. The sense organs meeting the sense objects, that reaction is absolutely cut asunder by offering the sense objects to the fire of control, fire of restraint. And another type of sacrifice, Sri Krishna says, śhabdādīn viṣhayānanya. Śhabdādi, like the words. Viṣhaya is a objects. Anya, like others. Same way he explained as śhrotrādīnīndriyāṇyanye. Like this, śhabdādīn viṣhayānanya. The sense objects such as sound, etc. Indriyāgniṣhu juhvati. Now these are also offered as sacrifices by some others in the fire of indriyāgni, in the fire of senses. So here are Two ways of sacrificing. One is sacrificing the organs of senses, the sense organs. That is one sacrifice. Sacrifice the sense organs that we don't get to know, we don't get to perceive the sense objects at all. That is one type. And another type is sacrifice the sense objects themselves. So that although we have our sense organs intact, if there are no sense objects, what will these do and how will they go after those sense objects to fulfill those desires of enjoyments of the senses? Now, this is what Sri Krishna tells about two more types of sacrifices. Some sacrifice hearing and other senses as sacrifice in the fire of restraint, fire of control. The senses themselves are restrained. They are offered as oblations in the fire of restraint. While others, they offer sound and other sense objects as sacrifice in the fire of senses. They burn out all their senses. So even if their sense organs are intact, where will they go? Where will they go when the sense objects themselves are not there? If there is no Rasgulla, on the table, how will I get tempted to eat that particular delicacy? That object has gone. And other people, they will just cut off their senses. They will burn out their senses in the fire of control. They will never allow their senses, the sense organs, to go to the objects of senses. So that is another type of sacrifice. Two diametrically opposite types of yajna are enunciated here. One is sacrificing the sense organs. I won't look. I won't hear. I want to do those three monkeys of Gandhiji. That I will not hear, I will not speak, I will not, that kind of thing. The total restraint. And another is sacrificing the sense objects themselves. Then, even if I see some beautiful figure, for me there is no beautiful figure. For me, that beautiful figure is nothing but the manifestation of Brahman. That beautiful figure is just the manifestation of Purusha. So, I don't get tempted. Although I have my sense objects intact, the feeling of sense itself is gone now. It has been sacrificed in the fire of senses. The sense objects are sacrificed in the fire of senses. Fire which the function of the one is to make the senses ineffective and that of other is to make them super effective. I may be retaining my... One is, yes, the senses are controlled, destroyed. They are put under strict restraint. I will not look at other things. I will not allow my eyes to see any other things. I will not allow my ears to hear anything. They are strictly under control. I will see what I want to see. I will hear what I want to hear. Like that. And other way of sacrifices? Senses are there, but the objects are all vanished. There are no sense objects. So in spite of sense organs being there, what is the use? No temptations. In the first case, no. In fact, in the second sacrifice, the sense objects are going beyond the sense objects. They don't perceive them as sense objects at all. Senses are there. I can see, I can touch, I can smell, all the senses are perfect, but they have gone above. They have become super effective. They have gone beyond reaching the sense objects. My senses have gone beyond. Then I will perceive only Brahman in around whatever I see, I hear, I eat. Everything is manifestation of Brahman. Fire which transforms the nature of things consigned into it is a medium in ritualistic yajna and also is a symbol of jnana yajna. Therefore, fire is a symbol of consuming everything. And therefore, whenever we talk about yajna, there is always a fire. And in that fire, something is offered which is consumed by the fire. And Sri Krishna therefore talks about these different types of fires. Sanyamāgniṣhu, the fire of restraint. Indriyāgniṣhu, the fire of senses. You are offering everything that you have in these fires, the corresponding things to be sacrificed. The sense objects in the fire of control and the senses, senses as or sense organs in the fire of control. You are controlling the sense organs and the sense objects in the fire of senses itself, indriyāgniṣhu. So these two fires, some people use the fire of control, some people use the fire of senses to burn their sense objects. So that is, the mind is completely withdrawn from the senses and made introvertive. The physical life goes on mechanically, although while the mind reveals in the self within. And when either way, whether you don't have sense organs or you have sense organs but you don't have, either you can have sense organs or sense objects, either of these two. Now, what Sri Krishna in this shloka has implicated is, the real problem comes when both are there. Sense objects are also there, sense organs are also there. Now here what Sri Krishna says, either it is we are sacrificing the sense organs, then let the objects be there. We are not able to going to perceive them. Or let sense organs be there, but get rid of the sense objects. So again, we are not going to perceive them and we are not going to get into that fold of the temptation and delusion and illusion and maya and the desire for worldly enjoyments. That is absolutely cut asunder. Because if out of the two things, one is not there, what will one do? So, either sacrifice sense organs or sacrifice the sense objects. And this is also one way that people go beyond the self. People go beyond the self and get into the mode of being a real karma yogi. So these are another two types of sacrifices that Sri Krishna has taught us on this Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. That was our reading of the 26th Shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swami.